Well, welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining us here today. My name is Kyle Flynn. I do all the coaching webinars here at voices.com, or I guess rebranded Voices. So you've probably seen my face before. I also work with all of our coaches on the platform, as well as all of the Platinum talent on our platform. So I'm the Platinum account manager. Today we have Anthony Reece, who will be joining us to be sharing some of his pro tips and content there. So excited to have him. Without any further ado, I'll pass things over to Anthony. Anthony, if you want to give a brief background of yourself, and we'll hop right into things.
Sounds great. Thanks. Welcome aboard, everyone around the world, it looks like. We have England represented, Canada, US, etc. So we're doing a worldwide broadcast thanks to voices.com. I wanted to say, everybody that's not familiar with who I am, what I'm all about. I'm an old dog, started in the business, been in it for about 35 years since I was basically a high school kid. Started about 15 years ago, vo101.com, my voiceover training site, because I had a bunch of character actors that were in overseas animations that I'm involved in, who were interested in finding some non-union coaches, if you will. And that's kind of how VO101 started. It was a labor of love. It went on to become a monster. And to be honest with you, it's one of my three main things I do now next to cartoonactors.com, unitedvoicetalent.com, and voicetunes.com. VO101 has become kind of one of my main areas that I'm involved in now. Kind of paying it forward, as Kyle can relate to. After all the time that I've been in the industry, thousands of projects and castings and you name it, been around the block from radio to programming to casting to animation, gaming, broadcasting, you name it, audiobooks, the whole works. So I've had a little bit of flavor in every area. One of the things that separates maybe me from others, my fellow coaches, is hands-on experience, having been there, done that. Being involved in a lot of projects over the years, as Kyle knows, really gave me some insight behind the microphone, behind the board, of why talent lost jobs. I wish I could have reached out to everybody I know, thousands of talents over the years, you can imagine, to tell them why they lost a gig. A lot of it was behind the scenes, behind the booth, if you will, behind the boards, clients' feedback, other engineers' feedback, and things I would hear and I learned and sponge over the years of what not to do. And that's kind of what I do on my coaching, is I teach, as my slogan is, street smart voiceover work, if you will. There's a lot of coaches that teach the basics, the fundamentals that get you into trouble out there. But very few coaches, like myself and a handful of others I've run into, really teach from the streets perspective of what cost you the gig. And most of the time, it's things simply as not using proper registers, not using right inflections, not using your tones, not using good paces, not using all the different types of word movements and registers, like I said, and being basically a wooden one-dimensional talent. And when you fall into that rut and you become predictable, that is one of the biggest top 10 things that cost talent the job, is being predictable as a voice artist. If I know what voice artists are going to get ahead of time, I'm pretty much not even going to really pay attention to them. If I got an hour and a half, my client wants to hear the castings that I pick, and I've got 200 people to go through. If you're predictable and I know exactly what you did the last time, that's going to cost you even getting listened to, let alone the gig. So my goal today with Kyle and Voices.com inviting me on is to teach you talent, old dogs like myself who are reinventing yourself to new blood out there, what you can do to potentially at least enhance the odds of landing gigs. So that's my backstory, a little bit of talent experience, a little bit of broadcasting experience, a little bit of character work, been around the block, and I'm kind of paying it forward at this point in my career as much as I can. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Awesome. And I know you have some material here that we're going to cover. So you should have the ability to share your screen there at the bottom.
Well, the first thing that I guess I would say is the most important part before going to the paper is, what are the basics that hurt talent the most? In a global market like today, like I've shared with Kyle before and Lindsay and others, is you literally can be smoking ganja in the Cayman Islands on a sailboat and compete in today's marketplace. Wherever there's a satellite link and a global connection, you can compete in the U.S. international marketplace. So it's not like it used to be back in the day when we were the big fish in the little pond. Nowadays, a talent has to be prepared for battle. They are competing globally. With that said, these are the things, and then we'll go into the paper, that I find, and I teach my students and old dogs reinventing themselves. What do you got to have? Must-haves today to really truly compete on a global professional level. One, you got to have good recording sound. No brainer. You got to have a good mic, which thank God Musician's Friend and other sites give us that ability inexpensively today to enter the market fairly affordable. You got to have good recording, good sound, and good overall noise-free recordings. They got to be recorded professionally, or you're not even going to be listened to the next time you submit an audition. So hisses, noises, fans, vents, hums, buzzes, you name it, are a no-no. You got to have good recording sound. Two, image and branding is a must. You must have an image and a brand. You can't just be a voice talent and not have logo, not have a brand, not have an image about yourself. Short and sweet, years ago, I worked with a guy out of Alabama who was competing for years, couldn't land work, had a really good set of pipes, but the bottom line is he didn't brand himself properly. So we reinvented him to be a good old boys country style voice artist. He's now one of the biggest voice talents on, you name it. I won't go into what channels, but he's big in the country world because he has that country kind of voice. He has the Country Bear Jamboree. He has that sound, and that sound is in demand on channels like Outback and things like that, outdoor sports, fishing, boating, manly Harley type commercials. So when he found his niche and created a brand and image, he went through the roof. He was starving until that. Branding and imaging is important. Package yourself, in other words. Three, have a good website. Short and sweet and to the point. Don't rely upon your little one-page website. The more pages, the merrier. The more you get indexed, the more SEO ranks you're going to get, more the internet's going to like you, the search engines are going to like you. Use proper pages, create a good quality website, invest in a real website. Don't rely on one of those do-it-yourself where half your pages are not working, links are dead. The SEO rankings will just punish you and they won't even recognize you. Websites are a must. Don't rely on just your accounts at casting sites. Have a good website. Another thing is use social media to your advantage. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Allow yourself to be in the social media world, at least from a basic perspective. Make sure that you develop good demos. Don't rely upon do-it-yourself, music-only demos. Production value is a must. You're trying to basically BS the BSers. In other words, if you're developing demos on your own, we casting directors and producers that have been around the block know the difference between a really produced quality professional demo and a do-it-yourself Home Depot mentality. Do-it-yourself and save does not work in the industry. You got to have professional demos. Even if you develop mock demos, you want to show what you can do, not what you have done, which is in the can. What's in the can hurt you because it may only be what they wanted, not what you can do for future prospects. So develop professional demos. That's not a sales pitch. That's the truth. Ask Mark, Bill, anybody out there who does demos. We'll tell you flat out. We know the difference. Casting directors know the difference. Comcast and Cox and all these guys and the clients of voices.com, they know the difference between a professional demo and a do-it-yourself like a lot of beginners try to do, and it kills them in the long run. Diversity in marketing. Again, diversify your marketing. Don't just put it all in one basket. Send your marketing out as many ways as you can. Cold calling, the internet, social media, casting sites like voices.com, etc., are a must-have today. You got to diversify your marketing. You have to look at it, voices.com, as a must-have tool, but it isn't the only tool you want your arsenal. You can't just sit back and twiddle your thumbs and wait for the phone to ring or your inbox to fill up. You have to land 1 gig a year. It pays for itself, simply put. So it's well worth the investment into diversifying yourself. Use Google Ads, use any LinkedIn advertising, anything you can do inexpensively to market and diversify your marketing. Set a weekly schedule. Allow yourself to set a schedule that you stick to every week. If you're going to have a weekly cold calling period, set it and forget it. If you're going to have a weekly internet submission, set it, forget it. If you're going to work your websites twice a week for 2 hours each of those days, set it and forget it. Create a schedule. How many auditions you're going to go for a week, how many, prioritize your auditions, etc. And then finally, create a good approach to the madness behind the method of auditioning. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about, on that paper that you see on the screen for those of you that are watching, the reality of the matter is, why am I not landing more jobs? Comes down to all of the above that we just talked about. Once all that's packaged and you are truly ready to dive in the trenches and compete, you are then seen and received and as a professional. Your reputation precedes you as a pro. Now, how do you submit auditions? That is going to make or break you in the market. You can have the sharpest sound and the coolest website and the most awesome marketing, and you can have a voice.com profile that blows doors and wow, you're ready to go. But the problem is you don't put near the amount of investment into your auditions. It is quality, not quantity of auditions. It's quality, not quantity. This isn't Las Vegas. This isn't Bali, one of my clients, which has casino gaming. It isn't a matter of just pulling the slot machine, the arm, or putting another quarter in, or it's a quality, go from machine to machine. Don't just stay on the machine. In other words, don't just submit auditions like it's a numbers game. It's not. It is about quality of audition. So with that said, if you're looking at your papers, the number one thing that talents do not do right is they do not consider the audience, the market, and the use of the other target specs that are on the casting. In other words, who, what, when, where, why. Who are you talking to? What are they all about? What age demo? What urban life do they live? Are they male? Are they female? Are they men? Are they women? Are they children? Are they adults? Know your audience. Know who you're targeting. The assumption, if you don't, by the casting receiver, me or whoever does the casting, is the talent didn't think about who was the application for. Who am I putting this in the market to potentially reach? That's the number one mistake. When you get a script and you're auditioning and you don't think about who, what, when, where, why, who are they? Where are they potentially? Are they sitting at the kids' soccer game? Are they in their car driving? Are they in front of a TV in the living room? Where are they? What is the potential market that they're in? That is the most important thing you can do. Now you look at the script and you go to number two. You think about interpreting the copy correctly. Did you read it enough times? Did you, as I say, own the script? If you didn't own the script, the assumption of the casting director is thinks quantity, not quality of auditions. Thinks quantity, not quality. What we were just talking about. Thinks numbers instead of quality versus quantity. So think about the audience, the market, but read the script, know the script, own the script, rehearse it more times than you can even think about before you lay down the track. You should rehearse it 10 to 12 to 15, if not 20 times before you even bother to stand in front of your microphone. Then you're ready to go and you're ready to play with the dialogue. You're ready to play with the copy. If you don't own it, you can't do anything with it. Once you own your script, once you own it and make it yours, just like a song as a musician can play in a session, once that session player that I used to play with back in the day owns that guitar lead, owns that part, he or she can then turn around and do what they want with it with their eyes closed. We got to do the same thing. It's not a matter of rip and reading. It's a matter of owning the script. Read it and know what you're reading and why and who and what you're talking about and who to who. Number 3, did the talent record a high quality or a low quality track? I can't tell you how many people have a microphone they use for real recording, and then they have an audition microphone that's a little lower grade. Are you kidding me? You might as well cut your own throat, because to me, I'm not going to take the time to think about, and anybody else in the business is going to not think about, well, this might be their audition mic only. Negative. That's the quality I think you're going to send me. My assumption is what? My assumption is now that is a pro if they sent me a professional quality recording. So that's the most important thing too. One of them is make sure you send high quality, good quality recordings. Number 4, did the talent respect and take time to record a quality assumption? Assumption. Talent thinks they are too good for us. If you did not take the time to send me a custom audition and you did not take the time to create a quality recording and you sent me a generic demo, and I've bothered to have my people invite you to a casting, or anybody in this industry that knows what they're doing, sent the casting and you responded with a generic demo, wrong, you're gone. Delete that quick. Minute me or anybody I know hears that you sent a generic beginning, delete, you might as well hang it up, because that tells me you think you're too good for school. And I'm being hard love honest with you as a talent too. I've seen talents lose jobs numerous times through my career because of just these first 4 or 5, especially the idea of a generic demo writing. When I do castings at Cartoon Actors or United Voice Talent or through Voices or anything, when I'm out there and I'm casting projects, I'm not about to tell my client, well, I know you're a $70 million casino company, but you know, this guy really is good. Just trust me. No, I'm not your agent. I'm not gonna sell. You're gone. You're off. And the next time you're deleted probably from my list, because there's nothing more time wasting and embarrassing than sending out a generic demo instead of cutting an audition. Don't respond. Just thank you, write an email. Thank you, but I'm too busy. Very professional. You're being honest. You're not saying, well, here's my generic demo. I don't have time. Wrong answer. Number 6, did the talent rush to beat the deadline, sending a noisy audition? In other words, did you hurry up because you wanted to make sure that you got in first? Do you really want to be the first to the wedding? Do you really want to be the first to the dance? You know, when you go to nightclubs, do you really want to stand at the entrance to the club before the door opens? You know, yeah, there's sometimes you want to be first, like a movie theater or whatever, so you get best seats. But the reality is, in the casting world, you want to make an entrance. You know, I don't know if many of you know it, but when actors in Hollywood go to the Oscars and go to the red carpet stuff, they stay in the limo, and sometimes the limo's parked in the neighborhood behind the place, and they sit in there for 20 minutes, a half hour, until they're buzzed on the radio by their manager saying, now's the time, the paparazzi's, Tom Cruise just entered. He wants you to make your entrance at a right time. It's all about timing. The same thing in the voiceover world. When I send an audition out, and that audition gives the talent 3 to 4 days, and in 2 hours, a talent sends my audition in, yeah, my client's probably not going to pick the first 3 or 4 or 10 people out of 50 or 60. The first 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, give or take, sets the precedent. In other words, the casting client knows now what they don't want. And they may know, oh, that's kind of what I want. Yeah, let's listen to the rest though. Trust me, you want to meet the 50% mark, 40, 50%. If you got 3 days before casting's due, send it the next morning. If you got a week, send it halfway through the week. Do not send it that hour or 2 or 3 later, because you're just basically the first few that they listen to, they go, out of sight, out of mind. Eventually they find the 5th, 6th, 7th, 12th, 30th. They find halfway, give or take. So what I find, most talents are picked are the talents who don't show up first. Also, whatever you do, don't send a noisy audition. We talked about that. They're going to think that automatically you got a poor rig, that you're poor recordings, that the reality is you're just not a professional. So don't be the first to show up, and don't send in lousy, noisy recordings, which brings us back to the very first or second thing we talked about earlier. The next thing is number 7. Did the talent invest time to explore the style requested? The assumption is, well, that was an average sounding audition. Next, please. In other words, did you take the time to invest in exploring the style? Looking for a hard sell, looking for a laid back feel, looking for a guy next door, girl next door, looking for a low key, sad sounding read. What is the emotion, the inflection, the intent? What is it they're telling you in the direction and in the script, in the copy? What did the writer put in the copy that gave away the secret formula to that particular read? Read the style they are looking for. And if they don't tell you, take the time to invest in creating the style for that particular read. Number 8, did the talent consider the pace and the tempo? Assumption, another talent just ripping through at the same pace. I can't tell you how many talent, I'll say high energy, looking for a high energy sports read. And they'll read it at the 40-40 or whatever, 404, whatever the beats per minute tempo. The same as the last tempo, the same as the last tempo. Your tempos, like your demos and like your audition reviews for each week, should all be different. Every one of them should have a different feel, a different flavor, and a different tempo. So make sure you pay attention to the directive that says the pace and the tempo. What are they looking for? And if they don't tell you, you got to use your insight into thinking about not only the style, but what tempo is this best for? Is it laid back? Is it fast? How much time do I have? Etc. The tempo is a must today's day and age. The next thing, number 9, did the talent consider the tone, register, and emotion of the sample? The assumption of the casting director would be, if you didn't, he or she's wooden, tone deaf, he or she has limited range. Everything's in the middle of their voice. So last time they sent an audition and it was the same thing, middle of the voice. He or she doesn't use the registers. She doesn't use a good tone. Think about the musical scales: lower register, middle register, upper registers, middle C, E, G. You know, the whole piano scale is a musical octave. The benefit of being musically inclined and having some musical experience is what can be to your advantage as a talent. If you are not a musical experienced person, sit down on the piano, sit down on the internet, find a free piano app or whatever on your phone, and learn how to hum and talk in different pitches, different tones. I'm telling you, it's one of the things that I hear a lot is, he's pretty tone deaf, or yeah, I can tell that she's limited in her range or whatever. I'm telling you, along with the pace, the tone, the register, and the emotion of the sample, which goes to the style, is a very important another reason that people don't land gigs. Number 10, did the talent pay attention to shared supply direction? In other words, did you follow what I wrote in the directives? If I say high energy, upper register, did you pay attention to that? If I wrote lower range, looking for a sadder, slower read, Did you pay attention to it? Attention to detail is the death of almost half the auditions that I've seen in my life. Talents ignore the details, go right to ripping out the copy, read it, and then I'll send it in, and then don't even think about what and why the a director gave the type of direction they gave. Pay attention to the direction. Number 11, did the talent meet the note recording times? Assumption, if you didn't, cannot read in required punch times or allotted read times. If you're broadcasting and it says must fit 12 seconds for the 15, you better read it in 12 seconds, not 18, not 21. If it's a 30, you better read it within 28, 27, whatever they tell you, etc. Same thing in narrations. A lot of times narrations are, as you know, done with scratch tracks. Same with a lot of the animation pilots that I'm involved in are scratch tracks. And then Disney brings their cast in and replaces our scratch tracks. You are then given a script in a spreadsheet a lot of times that say the allotted runtime. So if you have a paragraph 183-9 and they give you 12 seconds, you better read those 3 lines or 2 lines in 12 seconds. There's a madness to being able to punch without sounding sped up or too slow to fit in the allotted time. And that madness I call the ability to word whip or to punch, as we say in the industry. It's the ability to read stuff faster, not necessarily like Speedy Gonzalez, by using certain words quicker than other words within the read, so the overall continuity of the read stays consistent. Again, those are one of the things that clients professionally look for is, did he or she take note that we said must fit 12 seconds? If there's a section in the audition that says, please read within 5, in parentheses, real second, you better be able to show them you can read that one section they asked for 5 seconds within 5 seconds. If not, delete. Another reason you didn't land the gig potentially. The number 12, did the talent offer one take or deliver a few versions? In other words, if you didn't, my assumption, and I'm speaking hypothetically, is you think you're a one-take wonder. I stay away from one-take wonders. I don't want anything to do with them. That's like a one-hit sensation musical, whoever. One-take wonders are talents that think, I can do this read in one take. Go ahead, roll tape. And they rip it out. Well, guess what? They starve to death. You don't go to a recording session allotted for an hour where the client pays you $350, $500, $750 and say, okay, I'm ready to go. And you rip it out in one read and they go, great job. Everybody go home. That ain't the way it works. We do 30, 40, 50 takes sometimes of lines. Sometimes one line, hey, get out of that tree, man. I can help make the talent do that 20 times. So my client goes, and then we go to the next one. It becomes a circle take. The reality of the matter is very few people tell you one audition only. So I tell talent and all my students, go ahead and send them 3. You got an MP3 you're sending in. Don't billboard it, of course. Or slate it, but yet give them take 1, take 2, take 3 with a little second or a beep tone between them. This way, you got 3 chances of landing the gig. Now, don't just give them a take, give them a version. A take is, hey, get out of that tree. Can I have another take? Hey, get out of that tree. Same thing, right? A version is, hey, get out of that tree. Hey, get out of that tree. Those are versions. They're different inflections, tones, uses of the word itself within the entire dialogue. So take your time, send them more than one take. If they say one take only, one cut only, then yes, of course. But if it doesn't say that, give them 3. Give them 3 10-second bites, 20-second bites, 30-second bites. Never read the entire script, as we know, as a side note. You never send an audition in the entire read, especially international. I hate to say it, red flag, but never send them the whole take. Always give them a few lines. If the client prospect can't get a feel for you within 30 seconds, 20 seconds, something's not right. So I tell people, you don't want to say, hi, I'm so-and-so, how are you going to screw me over? But the reality is, You want to not give them too much. 25, 30 seconds max is about the way to move at this point in time. 13, bringing it on home. Did the talent probably edit, clean, and send me a polished track? Assumption, poor editing skills, lazy, and an incompetent talent. If you left in an F-bomb, which I've heard, I can't tell you the stuff that I could take outtakes over the years of. God, my beep hurts today. You know, left in there in the middle. Yeah, it's funny. It makes the room laugh and everybody, the client and prospect. But if you're dealing with a bunch of people who don't have a sense of humor, go back through and listen again. If you're confident you didn't leave in any bad editing outtakes or bombs or whatever, and it's clean and it's labeled properly and everything's good to go, save it, render it, and then do what? Save it and don't send that out right away. We'll talk about that in a minute. Number 14, the final one. Did the talent do all the above? Did they submit on time? Did they present themselves professionally in a good light? Assumption, this is a professional talent who goes in the maybe bin. The rest of the talent get deleted. We as casting directors, especially at voices.com and others, we are going to do what? We have a favorites option if we want to pick it and add you to our favorites for future potentials, or we have a 1-star, 5-star, whatever rating, or we have a maybe, forget it, delete. And if you make it to the maybe, what I call the finalist, you're in there. Now it's a beauty of the ear of the beholder. It's not you. It's not how professional you were. It's not the quality of your recording. It's not did you follow direction. It's not, did you send me a good quality, polished, directed, listened to, considered, rehearsed, own the copy script? Your chances of landing the gig now are 1 in basically 20 because we typically narrow it down. I send my clients, everything I do, I hand pick. The castings that I do, I pre-screen everything. Then I send my clients only a zip file, not a a bunch of here's everybody who replied, zip. I screen them and I weed out the trash. And if it's crap, it sounds terrible, it doesn't deserve it, you get X'd. If you did a professional job, everything's clean, I don't make the decision unless the client tells me to. I zip it up and I send the top 20, 25 to the client. The client then screens through and picks who they want as the number 1 lead or the backup or whatever. The point I'm getting at is if you, trust me on this, if you take the time to do all the above, it takes less than 3 minutes. Then you rehearse the you know what out of it. And then you record it and you do what? You sit on it. You walk away for 15, 20 minutes and you wait until you have a chance to listen with fresh ears and put on your director objective hat. You're too close to the fire. As we say in Colorado where I'm at, you're snowblind. When I'm out there on the slope and we're snowboarding or whatever over the years, that's why people end up getting hurt and running in the trees because literally everything becomes blurry and white. But if you walk in there, you lay the track down, you do a good job, you cover all the things we talked about and all the things that are on this paper. Now, the reality of the matter is that you have a chance now of doing what? Walking away and washing your hands of that audition, knowing you kicked ass, knowing that you did a good job and you did a professional job and you knew the madness to the method of auditioning properly. If you didn't do any of these, half of these are missing or whatever, you're deleted. You're out of there. And the chances are the future and the future, you're predictable. And me and other casting directors who have an hour and then we have to listen to 200 and something responses and the client's going to be phoning in and wanting the zip sent and they're over in Europe and they're 8 hours ahead and he's got a plane to board and he's sitting in the airport. They don't want to weed through the trash, most of them. Most of them will, even at voices.com and other companies, Kyle may not know this, but they'll hire someone like myself to pre-screen what they think are their finalists in a zip they send to me. And I tell them who I think is potentially a prospect for the job, and that person gets a gig. And the reality is that's where the consulting part of us behind the scene comes in play. So 15, 20 minutes, sit on it. If you can sit on it till that afternoon, sit on it. If you have a couple days till it has to be sent in, listen to it the next morning, because you'd be surprised how many times with fresh ears, to wrap it up, you'll listen to that and you'll go, how the heck did I miss that dog barking from my neighbor? You'll be surprised how many times you'll go, how did I miss that pickup I didn't edit out? You'd be surprised how many times you go, let me record it one more time now that I've slept on it, as they say. You know, when you sleep on it, your mind is rehearsing it. People don't realize that. But when you rehearse and you go to bed and you wake up the next day, have you ever noticed how all of a sudden it feels easier to read stuff you've read the day before? Familiarity. Your mind has rehearsed it. It's sunk in. And therefore, when you cut a second take and you read, or a second recording, and you listen, you can then go, you know, I think this sounds actually better because I did cover all the things in my little checklist here. If not, it sounds not as about the same as yesterday. And I'm already get that one's edited, clean, and ready to go. Send it off. And then wash your hands of it to conclude. Don't take it personally. I'm telling you, man, don't take it personally. It is the beauty of the ears of the beholder, like the beauty of the eyes in the modeling world. If they don't hire you, it isn't because you were no good, you're terrible, you're whatever. It's because you weren't right for the gig. You move on and think quality, not quantity of auditions. Short and sweet. That entire checklist can be done. And I train all my students, my power plan students, you name it, from beginners to old dogs reinventing themselves, to reapproach their auditions, investing in that checklist. Once they pin it, I know a lot of them that pin it right next to their microphone in their booth. And they go down that list to where they've memorized it. Once you memorize it, it becomes second nature. It becomes just like you've hammered painted a house 100 times. You know exactly the steps. You do the trim, you do this, you that. You know the steps to it. Prepping is more important than anything in this world to help you potentially land more gigs. If you don't do the above, you're not going to land gigs. You're going to land few, far in between, but you're not going to land more gigs and an abundance of gigs. Worst comes to worst, maybe you are not landing more gigs per se, but I can guarantee you, you're getting listened to each time, and you're making it to the top 20, 25, 30 bin. I would want to be invited to the dance, not left outside standing with, have you ever seen Night at the Roxbury? You know, hey, can I come in? You know, versus you can come in. The reason they pick specific people to come in is because those people are regulars and they're going to spend money and they know they're right for that environment. If you are not right for the job, but you did all the above, chances are you're going to land more work. It's as simple as that. I've seen it with these and here all my life. I've watched it. And I wish I could scream from the house, the top of the roof. That's why I've done a lot of my power videos at VO 101. A lot of the stuff that I share is from that, oh, I got to make a mental note of that. And I literally make a mental note of, oh, that's why she didn't get the job. Oh, that's why he didn't get the job. It's important steps to landing more jobs. So there you go, short and sweet as I could make it, but it's a pretty in-depth, detailed way of approaching things.
Awesome. I think that was great, and I think a lot of things, especially a lot of people are asking, you know, with the quality versus quantity. Anthony's completely right. Quality will always come first. Is there a portion of it that is a numbers game? 100%.
Yeah.
The more you put out there, the more you have a chance to get back. But
right.
On the quality and getting your steps there, so that way you can then take advantage of the quantity.
That's right. You know, and that's absolutely right. And, you know, a lot of people, they put it in reverse. They think it's a matter of putting out numbers, putting out as many as they can. If you want to put out, if you got 12 to do today, prioritize them. And the ones that require and demand more attention, give them more attention, more quality time. The ones that are looking for a tag for this radio ad, and it's 5 seconds long, you know, you can probably do that in a minute or two and then send it out. But it is a numbers game. So you do want to put out as many as you can, but you want to put out quality auditions.
Exactly.
Even if there's a quantity of them, and I know a lot of them, I just did a poll on LinkedIn just curiously to see how many people put out how many auditions a week. And I found, give or take, in the average that I did off LinkedIn, a poll I ran, was about 10 to 12 a week. To me, that's kind of low. To me,
Definitely.
that's a fairly low amount considering. So you're absolutely right. You want to definitely put out as many as you can that are proper for you. Now, that's the key, short and sweet, like I told you the other day, Kyle. Another reason that a lot of talent lose gigs and don't get hired is because if it says looking for a 35-year-old male, African-American male with an urban sound, if I'm a white Caucasian guy, 45 years old, last thing I'm going to do is embarrass myself and try to, yo, what's up, man? Snoop Dogg. Come on, be honest. As I say way years ago in my voices.com thing, mirror, be honest with yourself. But you're absolutely right. It's about quality, yet quantity does matter if they're all quality auditions sent out.
Exactly. Completely agree. So with that being said, I know that you had prepared a script there. We're going to have Christine on, and she's going to get a little bit of live feedback here with the script that Anthony has prepared. So Christine, I'll be upgrading you here to panelist, so you'll be able to be on camera. So hope you're ready. Everybody, meet Christine. Keep in mind, by the way, sound and audio in this setting isn't going to matter just because I don't think no matter what we do, it's going to be, of broadcast quality, but it's more about the coaching through the read and everything like that. So
absolutely right. And with that said, let me tell you that I can't tell you how many thousands upon thousands of reads I've heard. So I'm not judging you. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody messes up and has to start over and does 4 or 5 takes till they own the copy. So we'll run through it a few times, like all of our listeners and viewers want to keep in mind. You got to rehearse it until you work out the bugs, work out the mistakes, work out everything, and then get a really good, what I call really good read. Or a good take or a good version, as I like to say. So for those of you that are visually watching, I'm not sure, can they still see the feedback script on the screen in front of them?
They will be able to see icons of all of the script itself that you're screen sharing, and then they'll see icons of ourselves.
Great, excellent. Well, let's go for it. So welcome. Which one are you going to give it a shot at?
I'm just gonna promote it right now. So here we go. Christine should be coming on right now. Let me see. Christine, are you there?
I'm unmuted. Can you
There
hear me?
we go.
Can you hear me now?
We can indeed. How you doing, Christine?
Great.
Thanks for being a brave volunteer here. I know probably a little nerve-wracking with everybody watching, but really appreciate it and really happy that we could connect you with Anthony. So here we go.
Being
Great.
A guinea pig.
Yeah, there you go.
Got it. Now, which one are you going to read? Take an attempt at there.
Actually, I like the first one.
The baseboard buddy.
Baseboard buddy.
Now, let me ask you before you read it. Give me the backstory, if you will, of this read. What did you take away from the direction and the read itself?
It's kind of like a commercial. It's for people to, use so that they can make housework a lot easier than what it normally is and make it fun because housework is not fun.
Right.
So it's just kind of a way of saying, if you get this, like, hey, great, this is going to make your life a whole lot easier.
Okay, very good. Now, if you dissect it, what does the directives tell you?
The directives, it's saying it's informational, obviously, an infomercial. Yep. You're trying to be like high energy so that you're it's because you need to be selling the product and making it sound like that's what you want to buy.
Exactly.
And you don't want to go too fast because then it just sounds like a great big garbled mess.
Right. Hence the whole moderate pace. Yep. But you want to tone the mood of the emotion to be an excited, uplifting feel, right?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be excited about a house cleaning product, but that's kind of what you're trying to do. So yeah, it's just, I guess maybe I probably watched enough of these I shouldn't say stupid infomercials that you kind of get the hang of what they sound like. But Yeah, I think that's probably my biggest struggle in some of this, is that I already have preconceived ideas about what I think and what other people think might not be remotely the same.
You know, and the truth is, as you know, and then we'll get through it, is all broadcast is sales. Our job is to sell it and manipulate and sell the consumer. What our job is in broadcasting, unlike narratives and characters and whatever, is to make the consumer part with their money. And so in this case, infomercially excited, we want the consumer to think this is going to change their life. So that's the whole purpose for this particular read, is to make them feel like, wow, I got to have one of these. So give it a go and let's see what you do with it.
Okay. I'm nervous, though. This probably will be totally embarrassing.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Hey, don't worry. We can imagine the nerve there. That's thanks for being the brave soul.
When I admitted to doing this, I thought this is exciting and terrifying all at the same time.
It's a safe place where everyone here is also a voice actor, so I'm sure they can relate.
Okay. Cleaning your baseboards can be backbreaking work. Well, good news. We have your baseboard cleaning solution. Introducing Baseboard Buddy, the fast and easy way to clean your baseboards. Simply hold the handle, walk along your baseboards in minutes. Your baseboards are perfectly clean. Use Baseboard Buddy dry or wet for a new finished look in seconds. Order now at $19.95 and we will double your order. That is 2 Baseboard Buddies for the price of 1. Hurry, order now.
Great, good job. You paid attention to the bolded. Yep, you paid attention. And again, that's purposely something that we want to do when we're auditioning, is pay attention to bolded words, italicized words, capitalized words. They're expecting for us as talent to hit those more dynamically. Another reason talents don't land a gig is they don't hit their copy words where they should dynamically. And that was what you did, was you hit and paid attention. That is 2, you hit that correctly. You hit an extra emphasis dynamically on that. Feedback, good job. You didn't make any mistakes. You kind of went through the whole thing. Let's see if we can raise the energy level, give it a little bit more excitement and a little bit more musical feel to the voice, a little more cleaning your baseboard buddies can be backbreaking work. Give it a little bit more roller coaster effect, if you will. It's got to have a little more excitement, and make sure that you stay strong from start to finish. I call it bookcasing it. Make sure that when you start strong, you finish strong at the very end. And the call to action at the end, hurry, order now. A call to action is make a consumer take action. So when you say, for the price of 1, hurry, order now, you want me to know that I need to get off my butt, not passively, hurry, order now, but you want to tell me to call to action, hurry, order now. So give it a shot. Good job. You did good that time.
Okay. Cleaning your baseboards can be backbreaking work. Well, good news. We have your baseboard cleaning solution. Introducing Baseboard Buddy, the fast and easy way to clean your baseboards. Simply hold the handle, walk along your baseboards, and in minutes, your baseboards are perfectly clean. Use Baseboard Buddy dry or wet for a new finished look in seconds. Order now at $19.95 and we will double your order. That is 2 Baseboard Buddies for the price of 1. Hurry, order now.
Give me that hurry, order now. A little more call to action on it. Let me hear that.
Hurry, order now.
Good, one more time.
Hurry, order now.
Right, now take it from order now and then finish strong like that.
Okay, what? Order
now at $19.95.
Okay. Order now at $19.95 and we will double your order. That is 2 Baseboard Buddies for the price of 1. Hurry, order now.
Much better. Great. Really good job. You did great. You know, you just gave it a little bit more life. You gave it a little more excitement. You called the action was stronger. You emphasized again on the bolded, if you will, dynamic words. The name of the product could be hit a little harder. So simply hold the handle where it says, oh, well, good news. We have your baseboard cleaning solution. Introducing Baseboard Buddy. You want to give that the name of the brand in everything you do. Should always get a little extra dynamic attack, whether it's Cabela's, or whether it's Baseboard Buddy, or whether it's McDonald's. Anything should have a slightly extra amount of something put behind it on the name, the product, the company, etc. But really good job. You did great.
Well, thank you.
That was really good. I'm seeing here in the comments a lot of kudos to you. I think they're right. I think
okay, start hiring me then.
You have a really lovely voice, great tone to it, and as one person said, you're very directable, which is amazing.
Exactly. I was just thinking that. You read my mind, Kyle. Right on the money with that insight. She is very directable, and that is another key for everybody to think about. When you're hired, you better be able to be directable. And part of being directable, short and sweet, part of being directable is not taking things personally in a session. See, I was testing her, playing with her, and a lot of talents get frustrated and they become, what am I? They don't know how you said to take the direction. If you can take direction well in this industry, you're going to do well in the industry. I hate to say it, but the reality is sometimes we're basically a circus monkey. A lot of people know what I mean by that, who've done gaming and videos and animations and cartoons. There are times where I'll be in a session and they will say, okay, hang on a second. And they're all in there going, you can see a mutant button and they're talking. Okay, yeah, can you read to me just like this? And they will literally feed you the line. And that is where that musical ability, being able to hear intonation and being able to musically hear the difference. If you can't be fed a line very well. I've had guys where I've gone, say it to me like this, hurry, order yours now. And he'll go, hurry, order's yours now. No, that isn't what I say. Can you hear? Hurry, order's yours now. It's an upper inflection. So the ability for her and talent listening to take direction, you hit it on the money with that. It's a must to be in a professional A/B level as a union, non-union talent. So good work. She did good. Very directable.
Great job, Christine. Great job. Thank you so much for stepping up and coming on today. We do have one more talent that we want to get to. So yes, thank you so much. Great job. And hopefully, that gave you some feedback that we can push and add into your webinar or into your auditions there. And I'll be wishing you the best luck moving forward.
Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great day. All right, Christine.
You too.
Now get our second talent here, Colin. I hope you're ready, Colin. I'll be bringing you on now. You can do the same. You can come on video or you can just do the audio. I'm good with either, whatever you're more comfortable with. But everybody, this will be Colin and Anthony. We should be ready to go.
Hey,
there
Colin.
we go.
Hey, good evening.
How's it going, Colin?
Yeah, good evening, Lindsay. Anthony, how are you doing?
Good.
Greetings
Which
from
one are you going to give it a shot at today?
Okay. I'm a bit torn between actually the gun safety one is something that gives me a good chance, but I'm thinking about more Jason Statham London type voice with that. Or if not, perhaps the Cabela's underneath, which is quite good, very much kind of narration, audiobook style. Either or, to be honest.
Well, you can pick whichever one you want. The gun safety is a little more of a PSA. It's more of a public service announcement type of feel.
Right.
Cabela's is obviously a little bit more of a historical documentary, more of a, so it's kind of, there are two different approaches. So it's really whichever one you feel most comfortable with, we'll go for it.
Okay, let's go. I'm going to go safety with Cabela's, I think.
Okay. Now I'll ask you the same thing I asked Christine. Give me, Kyle, the backstory. What do you see when you dissect the script, the copy, the directive notes, the feel? What's going on?
Okay. Certainly the two key elements for me that I can see there is warm and moderate pace. So nothing to be rushed. I can see a lot of dots or a couple of dots there in the script for a start. So it needs to be paced correctly. It's very historical and in a documentary form. So it looks as though the listener or if it's part of a TV program, for example, would probably need to be drawn into that. So somebody's probably quite interested to be switching on the TV or the video, whatever, and they need to be drawn into the facts that are about to come out, I would suggest.
You got it, exactly. And that's one of the things that's important as a narrator to everybody listening and watching is A part of our job as a narrative is not to necessarily, in this environment, which is a television type of package, is not to try to be the star. You're kind of trying to be the co-star. You're trying to be the supporting actor, and you're letting the visual be the lead, if you will, actor. So our job, like you just said, is really to be a supporting of the visual component on the consumer screen. If this was an audiobook, then an audiobook is definitely where we want to paint the picture. We want to be a star because we're everything. Whereas in narrative environments like this, you definitely right. You want to invite them in and reinforce what they're seeing on the screen in front of them. So you're absolutely right. So you're right on the pace, you're right on the warmth. Let's give it a shot and see what you got for it.
All right, here it comes. It all started back in 1961. Cabela's was born and has become the world's foremost outfitter of hunting, fishing, and outdoor gear. It all started somewhat inadvertently in '61, when Dick Cabela came up with a plan to sell fishing flies he purchased while at a furniture show in Chicago. Upon returning home to Chapel, Nebraska, Dick ran a classified ad in the Casper, Wyoming newspaper, reading, 12 hand-tied flies for $1. It generated one response, but that planted the seed that grew into the tree of Cabela's locations today.
Very good. You know, and also I like that you found the comma, the writer put the comma in the right place, and that was a trick spot. So you found that. That's amazing. How many of my students don't catch that? You purposely, after Casper, Wyoming, you didn't pay attention to the comma. The comma should be after newspaper, which is where the natural stall should happen.
Yes.
For those of you that are listening, he hit all the good natural stall points. A natural stall is a place where the copywriter or the scriptwriter doesn't necessarily write for us as voice talent and narrators. They write for the reader. We as voice talent have to take the ability to come up for air, as some people call it. We have to have places for natural stalls to be added. So I would strive to tell everybody listening to what he just did there, that Colin found good points to put natural stalls without breaking up the script or breaking up the context of the continuity of it. He found good stall points. Another reason stalls are important is because when you're reinforcing a visual, you want the consumer to have time to absorb what you're saying with the visual. If you're too far ahead of the visual, then the visuals have to be so short in the editing world and video editing that the consumer doesn't have time to really visualize and see. They're always a little bit behind you. So remember, when you're reading as a voice talent, the consumer is always a little bit behind you, about a beat in what you read and what they're absorbing. They're always behind you a little bit. So you want those natural stall points to be places where the consumer can catch up. It's their catch-up points too. They're points in the read of where, that's why a lot of copywriters, like you paid attention to and you brought it up, put ... dots in there. It's because it all started back in 1961, ... and gives it a little more of a stall place. And a lot of copywriters do that, and we talent don't know why. They use so many eclipse or whatever the word is, whatever the word. That's why, because they want you to basically leave it hanging or leave an inflection hanging there. It all started back in 1961. You left that tone hanging, ... So give it a shot again and let's see it. One other point, make sure to hit the world's foremost outfitter a little harder because it is bolded for that point there. Let's see if you go for it again.
Sure.
Good read.
All right. All right. It all started back in 1961. Cabela's was born and has become the world's foremost outfitter of hunting, fishing, and outdoor gear. It all started somewhat inadvertently in '61, when Dick Cabela came up with a plan to sell fishing flies he purchased while at a furniture show in Chicago. Upon returning home to Chapel, Nebraska, Dick ran a classified ad in the Casper, Wyoming newspaper, reading, 12 hand-tied flies for $1. It generated one response, but that planted the seed that grew into the tree of Cabela's locations today.
Really good read. And you know, the thing that was good about it is you use your inflections properly. Now, what do I mean by ending inflections properly? An ending inflection, proper use of it, there's a variety of ending inflections that I teach as well. Ending inflections is another thing that most educated, polished talent work, they understand. Most talent put a stop sign or a period mark everywhere, even when it's a comma, even when it's a hanging inflection, like a dot, 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 to be continued type inflection. You know, up next on Dynasty, whatever. You want to leave that kind of like a hand, like you're handing it off. When we're doing testimonials, we want the narrator to hand it off to the testimonial. Here's what the chief said about the fire. Let the hang in a bit, musically and tone-wise, versus an ending inflection, which is a period mark. And you hit all your inflections really good, especially where you went upon returning home to Chappelle, Nebraska, you didn't go "guh," where the tone was an ending period mark sound or inflection. You left it hanging a bit like a comma should be. It's a stall point. It's a hesitation. It's a tone in the voice that lets me know there's more to come. So you really did good with all the stalls, the dots, you hit the world foremost outfitter really good. You really nailed them. That second read was much better than the first. And I'm sure if we were in a session and I had to read it 3 or 4 or 5 more times and we really tore it apart, like the whole purpose of this exercise is coming off that paper, you put in quality time in rehearsing, dissecting, owning the script. Now, after a couple more rehearsals, fine-tuning tones and inflections and this and that and dynamic attacks, and you can then add things like stretching of words. You can add things like what I call word whipping. It all started back in 1961. Cabela's was born and has become the world's. You see how I kind of do a little bit of whipping on the words here and there. That brings life to the dialogue. That brings a little bit of pace changing, so that the words in the dialogue flow freer. They aren't all structured in the same beats per minute. So that ability that you showed there is a major plus for you to work on. And when you look back at this, enhance it, enhance it, enhance it. And that would be what we consider a take you can send off. And let's face it, if you took away all of my feedback, and this was just you or Christine doing the session on your own in an audition environment, and this was a voices.com audition that you ripped on, printed out, then you would be able to spend 3 to 4 minutes maybe, and you'd be ready to go. Running it through 5, 6 times, every pass, fix something, every next pass, fix something, the next pass, fix something. All those items are checked, you're good to go, it's ready to be sent off. And you probably invested 5 minutes into it. If you do 10 or 20 auditions, it's a couple hours a day, which is about the norm. But I can tell you right now, like you know, the quality, Colin, and the versus the quantity, as long as the quantity has quality invested time, you're going to have bigger chances of landing gigs. Simply put as that. Really good.
Completely agree, Colin. You killed that there. That was really, really strong.
Thanks for your time.
Hey, anytime. Sounds like you're cutting out there. But yeah, really appreciate you taking the time and having the courage to jump up in front of everybody there. So appreciate it. Both
Thanks
you
very
and
much,
Christine.
gentlemen.
Anytime. Now that is bringing us to 2:04, which we are a little bit over time there. So let me see here. I'm just going to try to pick a couple questions here. So sorry, I won't be able to get to nearly as many questions today. But again, actually, let me have this as the chance to ask Anthony. You can reach out to Anthony with any questions that we don't get to today. Anthony, what's the best place for them to reach at?
Yeah, best is a student at vo101.com.
Perfect.
Student at vo101.com.
Perfect. So any questions that we don't get to today, feel free to send him an email. I'm sure he's going to get lots of emails, so give him a little bit of time to get back to you. But you can reach out to him at student at vo101.com.
You're absolutely right. And also, just to plug a little promo, I am giving you guys, as part of this voices.com special webinar, My power plans, I'm giving a $100 discount only to people that attended this webinar. So if you're considering any power training or whatever with me, use that webinar discount code there when you go to the power plan area of the website. That's on that list there in front of you. So.
Awesome. Well, without any further ado, I just want to say thank you to everybody for setting aside an hour of your day to join us here today. Big thank you to Anthony Reece for setting aside an hour of his time to chat with us and do some live feedback. So really appreciate everyone being here. I hope you all learned something. And any questions, feel free to reach out to Anthony, student at vo101.com. And until next time, I hope you guys all have an amazing afternoon, and we'll see you next month.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Anthony. We really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. See you guys.